It's your boy Rodney Perry. I'm bringing you an evolutionary experience. Hey, it's game changer.
Hi, this is India with Designer Accessory Adoption. Thanks for watching this video. Welcome back to my channel. Today's topic I am so interested to get your thoughts about, and it is going to be talking about Hermes's some of their employees investigated for this $20 million scheme that they ended up investigating, I think, for 8 years. So I will link the article down below so you can check it out by the Fashion Law. But first off, let me say hello to my new people. Hello to my folks that are coming back as subscribers or just repeating a video. Thank you so much for watching. For my new folks, if you're interested in any of the topics related to vintage and secondhand, fashion, lifestyle topics, definitely consider subscribing. And as always, if you're enjoying the content or something moves you, definitely give me a thumbs up, as well as leave some comments down below. I love to talk to you further. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this topic, because thanks to Real Authentication, which is a company that I actually use to authenticate some of my items, I got an article that linked out to this blog page called The Fashion Law, which is very interesting. So definitely, if you haven't heard of it, check it out. And like I said, the link will be down so it can take you directly to the article. So I'm just going to read just briefly at the very top, and then we're going to get started in today's topic today. So it says, in the summer of 2011, a brilliantly bright red Birkin bag was crafted in a workshop in France. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that like that. In a workshop in France. And then it goes on to talk about the Great Recession in the U.S. and things going on in China and Europe. And then down below, this is describing the handbag, finished with a small gold stamp on the front that read Hermes Paris, made in France, and packaged in one of the orange boxes the storied fashion house has been using for 183 years, right? So going down, this was a shiny, beautiful crocodile Birkin, right? So now we're already talking, this is rare, this is extremely expensive. This bag would sell for upwards of $75,000 at retail, and it was destined for a blissful customer, right? So somebody definitely that can drop $75,000 on an item that you use to carry your stuff in, right? So let's just put that in perspective. No hate, no shade. All you go ahead and do you. So pretty much they were describing this handbag, all to say that, here he is. So they're talking about the handbag, and it says, the problem. The bag that was being assembled that day was anything but the real thing. Despite its look-alike packaging and seemingly high-quality materials, this bag was produced by a sophisticated $22 million plus ring of people that are making goods that you should not be selling, pretty much. And I'm using that word because I'm not saying it like that because I'm not sure whether the other word is something that can get you flagged or whatever. So just want to describe it in another way just in case. All right, so I thought this article was extremely interesting, especially because employees were involved. I don't remember whether the article actually said how many employees were involved, but definitely if you see me look over here, it's because I got my little notes that I've kind of made as I was reading the article. But the investigation started in 2012. It ended in 2020 because that's when they were sentenced. This article by the Fashion Law was written in November of 2020. So we're coming up on almost a year that the article had been written. So I'd love to know if you had even heard of this article. Thumbs up if you have not. I would love to see how many of you, just, I don't know, being goofy and excited right now, how many of you had heard about this story? So I thought this was extremely interesting. And when I scrolled down, also in the article, I just touch on a few things and then get into some questions that I want to ask you all and get your opinions on. So they interviewed Patrick Thomas, who was the former CEO back in 2012, and he said that it's estimated that 80% of the Hermes labeled products that are floating around on the market right now are fake. So if you can imagine the explosion of resale, secondhand, all of that, consignment shops have been around for an extremely long time, but a lot of them were not online. And we have this expansion of new companies popping up that specifically sell luxury goods. And in addition to that, brick and mortar brick and mortar, I was about to say the wrong word. Brick and mortar consignment stores actually have moved online, and you have some that are just solely online, as well as these third-party platforms where you can sell your own items. If you can think about that and all of that and that expansion and popularity of that in the last decade, 80% of what's out there that they're saying is Hermes is fake, and that was in 2012. That was how many years ago? Like, so just imagine how much higher that number must be, right? Now that technology's changed, people are getting better at, making these replicas basically. And what do you have now? Like, that number definitely has to be higher than that. But it's really scary to think about it in that way, that the number of fakes that are out there. But anyway, I'm not trying to make this like a whole thing where I deter you from buying secondhand, because it's not going to stop me from doing it. You just need to be very, very well informed, use people that are trusted, get things authenticated, and if it turns up not to be real, guess what? Make that case to get your money back. Pay to get it authenticated, though. Pay to get it authenticated. But what was surprising is the fact that we now have employees that are involved. So according to the article, I believe, like I said, I don't think I know the exact number or whether it was mentioned, but I did make a note that, like I said, the investigation started in 2012. The sentencing was in 2020. And the sentences for those employees that were charged ended up being from a range of 3 months to 3 years. Now, I don't know what the details of the case was, what they were actually able to charge with, whether there are limitations on what those employees were charged with and the reasoning for the sentencing. But just looking at it from the numbers perspective, not knowing anything about the laws over in France and all of the details of it, 6 months to 3 years is to me like a slap on the wrist. It just does not seem long enough for this kind of betrayal, really, right? Like, you're basically selling your secrets. Your employee secrets you're selling to somebody else, really, is what's happening. And you're getting a cut of it, obviously. So it's just crazy, though, that I think they said that actually authentic materials were being used. I don't know whether that's leather, but I did read about packaging had been used, authentic packaging. Also, I want to say that someone in the leather works department was actually part of this ring. So there were a few employees in different places that were able, in different places of the fashion house, that were able to contribute towards this crime ring that was happening. And who knows for how long it was happening, but definitely in the article it does mention that they noticed some suspicious employee behavior and started tracking and watching, and then this all snowballed into you're doing stuff that you should not be doing. So it's just crazy that I don't think I'm surprised that employees are involved. This is, I think, not something that's uncommon. Like, you have a lot of times where people are doing stuff that they should not be doing, but I don't know, it just still is very surprising to me for other reasons besides just the aspect of somebody doing something that they should not be doing. But I would love to get you all's thoughts on it. Definitely thinking about it from the aspect that Hermes is extremely popular, has been popular for a long time, but I think that especially if you are into luxury and things like that, and you're watching either any type of social media on it, and the way that the filters work, it keeps feeding you the things that you like looking at. And so you end up in this bubble where you're like, everybody's into luxury, which is not really the case, but you just really keep feeding it and keep seeing it all the time, outside of you just wanting to shop and look on your own, outside of social media channels. So I would love to get your thoughts on, are you surprised that there were different employees involved? I'm just wondering, outside of the financial benefit, what else drove them? Was that it? And why? Obviously, every person who works for someone, you feel like you can be paid more. Like, I just think, regardless of wherever you are, where you work, you want, more money is definitely very helpful regardless. So I do know that the financial aspect is, it helps them basically support their lives, support their families, whatever goals that they had. even more by doing this. I'm not saying it's right. Absolutely, I'm not saying that at all. But I would like to know kind of how they got started in it. Who did somebody approach them? How did this all formulate? And then what was kind of like that driving factor that they said, you know what, I'm in. I will go ahead and help. So I would like to know that. I would, maybe they'll make a documentary about it. That would be extremely interesting. I would love to see that. But it's just amazing, and I think it is definitely speaks to kind of the desperation that some people have and how they maybe cave to those feelings or whatever it is going on in their minds and in their lives that push them towards this. So I don't know, it's just mind-boggling. It really is mind-boggling. Also, I do want to touch on another article, which I will leave down below as well, because the Fashion Law also wrote another article from last year as well about LV. And I think there was an employee in Shanghai that was basically helping out this ring of making duplicates of something that they should not be making from their employer. And they actually the way that they were involved was they were selling the pre-released items to those counterparts, so that way they could get a head start on producing the same thing, and it flood the market either shortly after, before, or around the same time as the official release from the fashion house. So that, I thought, well, I mean, definitely it's not just one fashion house. I'm sure there's several fashion houses that have had some type of employee involvement in them doing something that they should not be doing. So I didn't want to just only pick on Hermes. Louis Vuitton is having it had the same issue with one of their employees. I'm sure there's, things that definitely end up going under the radar, but I don't know, it's just really crazy to think about the employee involvement with it. It makes it a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit scary, I guess I would say. Just the fact that people who have these secrets and are able to share them with others, which is the reason why you have the differences, not only just with the material, but the way that things are made. That's how you're telling the difference, right? Because they don't have the secret sauce. But if you're sharing the secret sauce, it makes it worse. So that one was amazing too. And it was literally, sorry, I'm changing it out. Pretty much with that ring, they were kind of more high-tech. They said high-tech manufacturing, which I'm not quite sure. No, they said high-end manufacturing. So, and they were using a lot of technology. So what they were doing in the LV case is, and I'm looking at my notes over here, sorry, they were producing NFC tags. So basically they had coded the tags so that way if you were able to scan it, it would take you to the real LV website. So it made it seem more authentic, but it really wasn't. And I don't remember too much of the details about it, but that one estimated to be $15 million. Estimated on the retail market worth of products. So that is, it's just, people are just getting very crafty, and it's hard out there, really. But I would love to know your opinion. Definitely leave that in the comments down below. Definitely read both of those articles, and let me know if you're enjoying seeing topics like this. I do find interest in them, so I feel like you all as well. And also definitely check out Haya Glamazon's, I was about to say article, but channel too, because she does some other kind of like fashion related topics that similar to kind of like this. So I kind of got my inspiration from her, from enjoying her channel and watching her topics that she goes over. But anyway, let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.